What is up, people? Miles here with Keep the Change, and today we're doing something a little different. I had midterms this week, so I couldn't do a super in-depth video. However, I wanted to get something out to you guys, so here we go. We'll be doing a video about Kanye West and how I became a billionaire. If you didn't know, I am a huge Kanye fan. He's my favorite artist of all time. I have a tattoo of one of his albums right there for proof, okay? Proof is in the pudding. And fun fact, one time in one of my English classes for college, I actually wrote a 10-page research paper about Kanye and why he's the most influential artist of this century, so who knows, maybe I'll make a video about that too one day, but you know, we'll see how this one goes. And this was mainly inspired by the Joe Rogan 3-hour podcast that came out with him on it. I highly suggest you go watch it. Very entertaining, very intriguing. So with all that being said, guys, if you like the video, go ahead and like it, and then subscribe as well if you want to see new videos from me every Tuesday and every Friday. And if you don't like and subscribe, Kanye will be dead within next year and we'll never get to see him be president, okay? Kanye 2020, that's all I'm saying. So Kanye West, the egomaniac rapper who manages to get himself wrapped up into new controversies every other week, it seems like, just because of his crazy antics, has a net worth of around $4 billion according to him. And in the Joe Rogan podcast, he kept saying that he sees $300 million in revenue every year.
You know, this paint the fence. The fact that I had to understand $300 million of cash a year.
So how does Kanye make $300 million a year? A lot of people would assume it's his music. And just to give you a little background on his music history, in the early 2000s, Kanye was a producer for Jay-Z. He wanted to be a rapper, however, everyone was basically like, nah, Kanye, you're trash. So he kept shopping around his demo tapes, and finally Jay-Z said, you know what, I'll make you a rapper, buddy. Don't even worry about it. You got good beats, I like your instrumentals. So Kanye gets to recording. In 2003, he was having a late night recording session, also giving people beats, and he was just working himself tirelessly. This led him to falling asleep at the wheel and crashing his car just because he was working so hard. So he crashed his car and he got like this contraption in his jaw, so he couldn't really speak at all, and he made an entire song called Through the Wire, and that is a legendary song. I highly suggest you go check it out if you haven't already. And he put that on his 2004 breakout debut album, The College Dropout, which received critical acclaim at the time and was honestly just a great album. His next album, Late Registration, came out next year, 2005. He put $2 million into that album, just producing it to make it sound super lively and have rich instrumentals with orchestra. And this album did extremely well for him. It had Gold Digger, it brought him to a new level. Now he was a superstar almost. And of course, Graduation came and he had Stronger on it, which brought him to like superstar stardom level. So what's actually really interesting, I found an earnings breakdown from 2007 to 2020 basically of what Kanye has earned. So let's look at it. 2007, he earned 17 million. 2008, he earned 30 million, 25 million, and then it kind of stagnates all up until 2018. And that's when he reached 90 million. And you would assume a lot of this is from his music, but let's take a look at how much his music actually generates in revenue. So reports claim that Kanye's entire music catalog is worth up to $110 million on its own, which is obviously an income-producing asset. So let's do a little quick math here. He's got 33 million monthly listeners on a Spotify page. Spotify pays out an average of 0.004 cents. So 0.004 times 33 million gets us around $140,000 times 12 gets us around almost $2 million. Now, of course, the label takes a cut of that, and this is just such a small portion of his revenue. Music really is not a lot for him. Because what's really big for him is his fashion line, Yeezy. Now, back in 2015, 2016, Kanye sent out a series of crazy tweets where he basically admitted to being millions of dollars in debt. He said, I'm $53 million in debt. Mark Zuckerberg, you should invest $1 billion in me because I am a genius. Of course, at the time, everyone laughed at him and said, haha, Kanye, you're stupid. You're in debt because you're dumb. Haha. But the reason Kanye was in so much debt is because he was investing so much into this brand, Yeezy, which eventually got picked up by Adidas. Now, Adidas basically made Kanye an offer where he owns 100% of the company still, and they'll handle all the marketing and the actual distribution of the products, but he's just the creative genius behind it. However, Kanye makes 15% of Yeezy's total revenue. And Yeezy last year in 2019 alone made $1.5 billion in revenue. So Kanye takes 15% of that, and that's $200 million. So that's where we start seeing the $300 million form. Now, there's other forms of income for him that are behind the scenes that we just don't know about. There's sponsorships, there's stocks, a lot of things that go into his pocket that we just don't know about. And the reason he's a billionaire, even though he makes only $300 million a year at the moment, is because of his full ownership of Yeezy. Yeezy is valued at around $3 billion. Kanye owns all of that, so that automatically gives him $3 billion. That's kind of how it works. And then whatever assets he has on top of that just gets added, minus his liabilities, which his liabilities don't don't seem to be a lot at the moment, giving him the billion-dollar net worth. Looking at his other assets, he's got over 120 million in real estate, which is absolutely crazy. So the house that him and Kim bought together is actually worth $70 million at the moment, but when he bought it, it was worth $13 million. He added $28 million of his own, invested it in the property. Now it's worth $70 million, so that's actually quite a flip on his part. He also owns some other real estate in Wyoming and a couple other places in California, but that's his biggest asset in terms of real estate. He's also got around $35 million in stocks. He's got $17 million in cash, and then he's got around $3 million worth of cars. So Kanye has more in cars than I will ever see in my lifetime. That makes me sleep good at night. So basically, he's got all these places to put his money in different kinds of assets. However, his biggest asset by far is his personal brand, Yeezy. In fact, the Yeezy website is worth $100 million alone. So Kanye went from being $50 million in debt to a billionaire by creating this entire brand that people really respect in the shoe community with sneakers. So that's basically how Kanye became a billionaire. Now here's part 2 of this video because I know it's going to be way too short. I'm going to give you a little cherry on top. My favorite Kanye albums ranked, so get ready for it. My least favorite album of his, Jesus is King. Come on, who cares about that? Next up, I got Graduation. Okay, even though I have it tattooed, I do not like this album that much. Kind of mediocre in his discography. After that, I would say Life of Pablo. I like it. I think it's just a little too bloated, too many tracks. Next up, I'd say Yay. It's short, it's concise, but there's a couple songs I'm not a huge fan of. Next up, I'd say Yeezus. Okay, I actually do enjoy Yeezus, but it's not his best work. After that, The College Dropout. Classic, but it's not in my top 3. Now I get to my top 3 of his. 808s and Heartbreak. I love this album to death. Great album. Next after that, Late Registration. Okay, I am a huge fan of Late Registration. I think almost every song on that album slaps in one way or another. And then last but not least, my favorite album of his, and probably most people's favorite album of his, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. What an album. Thank you, Yeezy. Thank you for everything you do. Kanye West 2020. Let's make it happen, people. Sorry this video was so short. However, quite literally right now I'm taking my exams, so I'm just getting something out to you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you want to see me break down why he's the most influential artist of all time this century, then leave me a comment and maybe I'll do it. But thanks for watching, guys. It means a lot. Okay, we'll have stock videos up next week, and later this week I'm going to do a little earnings type thing because there's a company that's reporting that I'm very excited about. But with all that being said, you guys, thanks so much for watching and love you.